Today I'm going to show you how to turn white gum paste into black gum paste. It's been said that it can't be done. I have proof here that it can be done, and I have done it. It works wonderfully. So I'm going to wrap this up so it doesn't dry out. This is some I did a little bit earlier. I'm just going to put it in plastic wrap, and I'll put it in my bag later on. The first thing I do to get this into black, of course, if you're working with fondant, it works either way. I prefer the gum paste. I'm sure you're going to hear me say that a million times on how I love the gum paste. Here I'm just using regular cocoa powder. It could be store brand. The better brand, the better it comes out if you're going to eat it. So if you're going to use this for fondant to cover a cake, then go ahead and splurge on the more expensive cocoa, because it does have a different flavor to it. But if you're just going to be modeling with it and nobody's going to really eat it anyway, it doesn't matter. So I took about a teaspoon of cocoa and just spread it on my counter here. I'm going to put that aside. And I'm going to start, I know it looks like a lot going into this, but it will all come together. Trust me. I'm going to knead it in. Okay, and I'm using gloves because the stuff is going to end up all over my hands, and I don't want that. So I'm going to start with a little bit, knead it in. I'm going for a brown look. Now, what I have here is a little glass of water, because as you're introducing different dry products to your gum paste, you're going to want to try to compensate for that by also adding a liquid. So if you find it starts getting a little bit dry on you or hard to work with, it's not so sticky, you might want to add some water or any kind of a liquid to it. Some people like to add different flavorings. That's fine. I'm sure almond would be just wonderful in this, or even an orange would have a good flavor, because when you're done it's going to be black and maybe chocolatey and to have some kind of a snap. What I'm going to do is I have a flavoring here, and it's chocolate. So I'm going to go ahead and at this point give it a couple drops just so it'll take on the chocolate flavor, and it's also introducing that liquid to all the powder I'm adding into this. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep kneading it and kneading it, and it's going to take a while. You can see I have a small thing of gum paste here. It's probably, God, I don't even know how big it is. Not big at all. I wouldn't use this for, I mean, I wouldn't have enough on here to obviously cover a cake. Maybe a couple of cupcakes for, you know, for accessory pieces to hats or buckles or things like that. So you can always do it in a bigger batch. It just takes a lot of time, but it can be done, and I'm showing you now. Well, what we're doing here is putting the brown in here just to make it the base color. Instead of having it white, it's going to be the brown. And at this point, you can use a paintbrush. I'm putting a little bit of water just to compensate for all that dryness I'm putting in there. It's not going to ruin it. If it starts feeling gooey, even better. Keep some cornstarch on hand or powdered sugar. But for this case, we're adding cocoa, so it's drawing that moisture out. You don't want to mess with the consistency of this too much, the structure and the recipe, basically, because you're not going to be able to work with it. So I know I put a lot of powder down here, and we're probably not going to use it all, and that's alright. I just want to show you for demonstration purposes how we get to this point. What I'm going to do now, I think it's okay. I'm just showing you for the video. We have a basic structure of a brown. It's not blended, but we're not done. So to this, what I'm going to do is start with a brown icing color. You could probably skip the cocoa step if you want, but what's going to happen is the flavor is going to be a little bit different. I'm going for a cocoa flavor anyway, so you're making like basically a homemade chocolate fondant gum paste without having to go out there and spend tons of money on it. So I'm just going to put tons of brown in here. You can see what I'm doing. I'm practically painting it on here. And let me close this because these will dry out on you if you leave them exposed too long. So let me start kneading this in here. And this is when it starts getting really messy. Let's see here. Hopefully I'll have enough time on my card to successfully demonstrate this for you. Let's just go nuts. We want it to be a dark, dark, dark brown, because once you go to dark brown, it's easier to achieve the black. If you guys hear the helicopters in the background, I'm so sorry. There's something going on out there, and they're having lessons or something, and they're driving me nuts. I've been doing it all week, and I've been putting this off, but I figure, oh well, it's probably not going to make that big of a difference. Okay. So it's not as brown as I'd like it to be, but you can see since we already started off with a brown base, and we added a whole lot of brown to it, that it's turning into a rich brown. I hope you guys can see that. And with darker colors, the longer you let it set, like when you're done, if you were to wrap it and set it overnight, it would deepen. The color would deepen. So you'd have like a really dark, dark color. Even with the browns. Browns, reds especially. You might start putting some red on it. It starts looking orange or pinkish. Don't worry about it. Always give it a couple of hours. Walk away, go to the store, come back, and you're going to have bright red. Okay, but we're doing black. So I'm going to put some black in here. Okay, and you're going to see the magic start to happen here pretty soon. We started with the brown. Now we're going for the money shot, if we can get to it here. Let's see here. And just mix it up, beat the heck out of it. And if it starts getting gooey because of all the liquid, just put more cocoa powder into it. And try to stay away at this point from the powdered sugar and the cornstarches, because it's going to lighten it slightly. So see how you can hear how it's sticking? I'm going to just put a little bit more cocoa powder, and it's going to still help it maintain a dark color and help me reach that dark color I'm looking for, the black. So let's just keep mixing it and mixing it. And I think even at this point we would have enough. It would be enough black to wrap it and let it set on the counter, and then when you come back it's going to be black. But just for the sake of the video, because we're doing this, we might as well do it. I'm going to go ahead and just add more black to it. Gosh, somebody should invent like a little disposable small spoon thing so we can get this stuff out easier. Okay, this will be it. This is going to be the last part of the black I'm going to add, because this is really going to be sufficient. And you can see my gloves, how bad they are. If I didn't have gloves on, this would be all over my hands. And then it would leave your hands purple for like a day or two. Nobody likes that. Okay, it's going to look like you just colored Easter eggs or something. And believe it or not, people will come up and ask you stupid questions like, why is your hand purple? You tell them, because I like to finger paint. Something ridiculous. Okay, right now you can see there's a little bit of marbling in here. That's alright, it's going to go away. And it doesn't look like much now, but this is exactly how I did the other black. And the other black is just jet black. There's no questions about it. It's not charcoal-y, it's not blue, it's not gray. Even when you cut it down the middle, it's just jet black. So let's see here. Let's see how far we've gotten. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you could see it well or not, but it's definitely black. And like I said, once we cover it, we go ahead and take something like, you know, your plastic cling wrap, and you wrap it, okay, and keep it airproof, airtight, and all that. You're going to come back, and as the color deepens and sets, it's going to be jet black. And watch what happens when I open it. It's black. There's no other colors in there but black. So this always works. It's a fail-safe recipe or method of doing it. I highly recommend it. It takes a little effort, but there's no other way to achieve a true jet black. So that's it for today. If you guys have any comments or questions, please feel free to pop them right down there. I'd love to hear from you. And if there's a way that you know how to do it that you're willing to put out there and share, please let me know. And look, you can see it's already getting even deeper. But anyway, you guys take care, and I will talk to you next time. Okay?